peço, por favor, a presença do Steffen Nielsen, da Novo Nordisk também, que vai falar sobre o programa City Changing Diabetes, a experiência de encontrar e envolver com sucesso parceiros em regiões com desafios distintos.
Thank you very much, thank you very much for the invitation coming here today. It's a pleasure being here. I've been here all afternoon, and I really appreciated all the presentations. I think it will make it much easier for me to do the presentation. You will see in a moment why. Thanks to the translator as well. Because my Portuguese is non-existing, so I apologize for that. So, Cities Changing Diabetes, what is it? That's the title of this presentation. I think I'm preaching to the choir here today when I'm saying that diabetes is rising at an alarming rate all around the world. Cities Changing Diabetes is a program that has been running for the last 5 years. I've been working on it for 4 years. When I started working with it, we said that diabetes is an emergency in slow motion. But if you take a look at the numbers that I will review now, it's not really in slow motion. In 2000, 4.6% of the world population, they were living with diabetes. 4.6%. 2017, according to International Diabetes Federation, that number is now 9.1% of the adult population. That's 425 million people around the world. We have done some calculations and said, okay, if this development continues, if we do nothing, it will be more than 700 million by 2045. That's an insane figure. This is not an emergency in slow motion. This is a full-on hit into a war, and we need to do something about it. So, if we imagine a world where we do nothing, we just continue down the road, we do not exercise, we do not change our food habits, we do not change anything. In 2045, it means 1 in 9 people will live with diabetes. It means 736 million people all over the world will be living with diabetes. And it means more than $1 trillion in healthcare expenditure every year. That figure today is between 700 and 800 billion US. So there is a potential of saving 200 to 300 billion US every year in healthcare expenditure if we do something about this. I think if that's not a call to action, I don't know what a call to action is. You mentioned it in your presentation. What do we need to do? We throw figures at people. Yes, that works to some degree, but we also need to talk to the heart, right? So, 300 million more people, that's also 300 more families and relatives. That's the heart, right? It's also a big figure. This is a problem for these families, for these people. It's also a problem for the societies they live in. We've been hearing today about all the struggles that the Brazilian healthcare system is facing. And for us, Novo Nordisk as a company, or the other pharmaceutical companies in this room for that matter, it's also a problem. We live from selling pharmaceuticals into a healthcare system. And the better the healthcare systems are doing, the better we are doing as a company. That's why we at Novo Nordisk say we would like to be part of the solution. We would like to help preventing people. And you might ask, why are you doing that when you're the largest insulin manufacturer in the world? This is the reason. Because if we don't do something now, together with the governments all around the world, if we don't do anything, then there's not a market in 30 years from now for us to sell our medicines in. Then they will be using more generics. That's what they can afford. So that's the reason why we went into this from our own perspective. From a patient perspective, I think the figures speak for themselves. So what is driving this development within type 2 diabetes? There are some factors that we can't do a lot about. They are not modifiable. It's aging population, genetics, ethnicity, just to mention a few. There are also some factors that we can do something about. And luckily, they have been mentioned already today, so they should not be a big surprise. Obesity, nutrition, the setting, so how we move about. I was very inspired by the presentation done just before Anyway, so this presentation about how to get people more active, get people moving, very good example of what can be done. Actually, 44% of type 2 diabetes can be attributed to obesity. And that's not the biggest risk factor. And I think when I saw it the first time, the biggest risk factor is actually aging populations. And there's not so much we can or should do about aging populations. It's a good thing. That's what happens when societies get richer. Then people live longer. That's a good thing. But it also comes at a cost. 30, 40 years ago, it was communicable diseases that was the problem. Today it's the non-communicable diseases. That's why we're here today. So, if we want to bend this curve, if we want to do something about it, we need to address the modifiable risk factor, and the one that by far is the biggest is obesity, and the things that causes obesity. This is the curve, as it looks like. We call it the inaction scenario. That's the one if we do nothing. As you can see, if we, our model can be extrapolated indefinitely. So if we're extrapolating it to 2100, it's not even bending, it just continues. There's also a scenario we call action scenario. That's the one where we are actually addressing the modifiable risk factor of obesity. And according to our model, it shows that if we are successful in reducing obesity rates globally by 25%, we can actually bend the curve. We can cap the amount of the prevalence at 1 in 10 people in the world. Because of aging population, this will continue to go up to some degree. That's why the goal is higher than the 9.1% we see today. I think this is a bold goal actually, even though that the goal is higher than the number of people today. Obesity has been going up in every country in the world for the last 20 or 30 years. The only places in the world where we are not seeing obesity rates going up is in countries that is ravaged by war or natural disasters. So, and we don't want war or natural disasters, so we need to do something else to get obesity rates down. That is what city-shaped diabetes is all about. Then you may ask yourself, why the city? Is diabetes not important in the countryside? That's of course not the reason. It is a fact that most people in the world, they are living in cities today. 55% of the world population are living in cities. That's more than half. Cities are 2% of the land mass of the world, but 55% are living in cities. So there's something about concentration that's important. By 2050, according to the UN, it will be close to 70% that will be living in cities. It's also the place where 2 out of 3 people with diabetes are living, that is in cities. And that figure will also go up to 3 and 4 in the same time period. We're not saying that it is dangerous to move from the countryside into a city. That's not what we're saying. Even though you see the distribution is a bit skewed. We're saying that there is something about cities that is worth studying. I'm usually saying that cities is like a magnifying glass. So if you have an opportunity, it will be much bigger in a city. If you have a challenge, it will also be bigger in a city. And that's why we need to study cities, and we need to study it from a broader perspective. That was why I liked the presentation earlier today by Ingrid, showing the social determinants and the cultural determinants. We need to understand the disease from a broader point of view, not only from the biomedical point of view. That might be a bit controversial being in a medical faculty, but that's actually what we want to do. Because cities, they influence our lives in all possible ways. Up here you can see the food we eat. It can be good, and it can be not so good. We have already seen some examples before lunch here. The lunch, by the way, was wonderful. We've heard about sedentary lifestyles. I think if you look at your mobile phones by the end of the day, you are not reaching the 10,000 steps probably because you've been sitting down a full day. I'm the only one standing up right now, but I've been sitting down the rest of the day. It's because the work we're doing is most often sitting down. It used to be more active. We saw the picture with the kids playing in 1560. Everybody was out playing. And not today. One of the reasons is media. I used to play football when I was a kid. My kids do not play football. in AI phones. And it's about traffic. It's how we go from A to B. There was this question earlier today. I mean, is it possible to have a bike culture in Sao Paulo? I've spoken to a few in the breaks. Yes, I mean, it's gone up from a low level, but it's still going up, right? And yes, it is possible. I mean, Copenhagen, the city I live in, more than half Copenhageners, they bike every day. And is it because we are a special kind of people in Denmark, so we bike? No, it's not. It's because it was prioritized 40 years ago, so the infrastructure is there. In Copenhagen, where I live, we bike because it's the easy thing. I mean, Danes, they are as lazy as any other people in the world. But it's the easiest way to get from A to B. If I want to go to a football game, I mean, I can't find any parking spaces near the stadium anyway, so it will take longer time to drive there and to find a parking. And when I get back there, there will probably be a ticket because I had to park illegally, right? So I take my bike because it's the easiest thing, right? That's why we're saying that we need to find new solutions to old problems. Type 2 diabetes, it is not a new problem, right? But we need to do it differently, because as you can see, the development has continued and continued and continued. It's apparently not working what we're doing today, so we need to do things in a different way. And that's why we initiated City Changing Diabetes 5 years ago as a public-private partnership, together with the University College of London, and together with Steffen Diabetes Center in Copenhagen and Novo Nordisk. These are the three global founding partners. We also started work with 5 cities in the beginning to look into why are some people more vulnerable than others. If we want to build resilience in cities, if we want to build robustness in cities, we need to understand the flip side. That's vulnerability. We have seen some of the maps earlier today. There are some areas of the city that are more vulnerable than others. You've heard social, economic, and the demographics. We have some of the reasons. There are more reasons that we need to understand. That's how we are making new solutions to our problem. Because if we are doing it like we've done so far, making assumptions about where the problems are, then we won't change anything. Today, there are 19 cities in the program, more than 130 million people living in those cities, and we're not stopping here. We want to continue, we want to move on, we want to have 50 cities in the end of 2023. Because the model that I will demonstrate to you in a moment, we have shown is working. It is working in many different ways, and I will come with a few examples just to give inspiration to you. You might have noticed there's a gray area here. We would like, with time, to fill the map in Brazil as well. We're working through principles we call shared value. This is a public-private partnership. If this is to work, everybody has to gain from this. That's also why we need to compromise, and that can be difficult at times. It can be difficult establishing these relationships. In the beginning, there might be skepticism. There might even be lack of trust between the partners. So starting a partnership is difficult, but it's also important to establish why are you in this partnership? What do you want to gain from this? And everybody needs to understand it. The places where we have most success is where this is the clearest thing. There are places where we are less successful, and I would say one of the reasons why we're not so successful in those places is because there's not the same degree of shared value. So, here are just 3 types of stakeholders in a partnership. That could be the people at risk or the ones living with diabetes already. For them, there's opportunity to raising the voice. I've seen that there are people from patient organizations here today, and I guess you will agree with me that you would like a stronger voice. Especially the type 2 community is not very vocal. We heard today that there is a lot of guilt and blame in the conversation here in Brazil. We saw some advertising up here. It's your fault. It's your attitude. That needs to change. Otherwise we will not win. It's improving access to resources, not necessarily monetary resources, but it could also be knowledge resources. It can be activities that can help you, like some of the ones we've seen earlier today, and who wouldn't have improved quality of life, of course. For the city, most cities around the world, they are not responsible for treating patients. That is a regional responsibility or a state level responsibility. Cities are quite often responsible for preventing disease. That is difficult. Especially when you know that the healthcare department in a city is usually not the most attractive place to work. You would probably rather work in the economics division or in the road and parks or even the education. So with an area where it's not the most attractive place to be and one of the hardest places to be, because it's really, really difficult to win as a civil servant working in healthcare. I used to be a civil servant in the Danish Ministry of Health. I know it from my own experience. Because there's only so much you can do. Prevention is difficult. You can come with information, you can come with flyers and leaflets. We saw some of the examples. It is difficult. So, access to new insights is important, but also creating this platform where you can reduce mobility, raise productivity, and cut spending. And in order for you to do that, you have to think more broadly than on healthcare alone. And that's one of the things that we're bringing. It's a cross-sectoral perspective to how to address diabetes in a city. And we do that through public-private partnerships. Then there is also something to gain from us, and I don't think we should hide that. Whenever I'm being asked, why are you doing that? In the beginning of the presentation, I showed you that there is a development from 400 million to 700 million that is bad for people, societies, and also bad for the Novo Nordisk. You can say in a microenvironment, there are also benefits for us in Novo Nordisk, and I don't want to hide that. It is a platform where we can have access to stakeholders, to have a conversation with stakeholders. We truly believe that there is value in having that conversation. Sometimes you get a no when you work in the pharmaceutical business, and it's okay. But you want to understand why you have the no. And you can get that through conversations, right? It's also a platform to improve reputation. We believe having a good reputation is better than having a bad reputation. Maybe that's also why you don't have access to stakeholders. It might be connected. And it's a platform for getting diabetes higher up on the political agenda, and even obesity, because it's not quite there yet. There are other topics that are higher on the agenda. And of course, being a diabetes company, that is an objective that we would like to achieve. How do we then work to bend the curve? This is the toolbox that we have developed over the last 5 years. First of all, it's about setting an ambition. You can say we have the global ambition that no more than 1 in 10 people should live with diabetes. We are strongly suggesting that all cities in the world, they set their own ambition. On our toolbox that you can find on our website, there is a model that you can localize. You can make a Sao Paulo model if you would like to, or you can make a Brazil model. Then you can see what are the figures for Brazil or Sao Paulo. And you can also see what happens if I am successful in reducing obesity by 25%, or 10 if you like that. You can play around with the numbers, and in that way you can also help set an ambition. We believe it's important setting ambitions that are realistic, so you are not setting yourself up for failure. That's not very motivating. Then, in collaboration with local partners in the cities, you should map the challenge. Map the challenge through the rule of house that Simone presented just before, but also through interviews with people. We've seen big data being presented in the panel before. Big data are important. They can show you what, but they can't show you why. And that's why you need to have interviews with people. You need to understand motivation. What we've seen in many places around the world is it's not knowledge of diabetes that is missing. People do understand that they need to move around. They do understand that they need to eat healthy. But there might be 10 priorities that are in front of that. And that was also one of the points in an earlier presentation. Then sharing the knowledge Do that within the cities, across cities, do it in NCD forums like this one today, and so on. It's important. And then finally implementing solutions. If we did not work on that in partnerships, in the local partnerships, then it would be all talk, right? Then I think we would be disqualified. I think it's important that we take the entire chain here. Okay, I think I've spoken to that, and we have seen it in a previous presentation. I think if you look at this as a kind of an iceberg, if you're only looking at the biomedical factors, if you're looking at the blood sugar levels and the weight and the lipids and hypertension and all the other things that we've been hearing about today, then you will see the tip of the iceberg, but you will not understand the why. And that's why you need to understand social factors and the cultural determinants. It can be shown in many ways. I like the figure you showed earlier today. Then, sharing solutions and successes. We do that through roundtables in the cities, but also across cities. We do it on speaker platforms. I think I could go to a place every week and speak about this program if I'd like to. I do not say yes to all invitations, but I think this one was very interesting. I've been in dialogue with Mark earlier, so I'm very happy to be here and sharing experience with you. We have a global summit roughly every second year where we bring all the cities together in one of the cities where they have the opportunity to share their successes but also their failures so they can learn from each other and be inspired. We are making publications. We do that both in peer-reviewed journals but also in lay media. We are doing our own publications. I think it's important that we should not let us be held back sharing the knowledge because of the quite tedious process once in a while in peer-reviewed journals. But of course we would like to aim for both. And knowledge exchanges. We have quite a number of delegations going from one city to another to learn from what they have done. There are a lot of delegations coming to Copenhagen where we have good access to both the city and the Ministry of Health through our many years of relationships. That is one opportunity, but there's also the opportunity to visit each other in the cities. So one example is Leicester has visited Houston, because both Houston and Leicester, they have very diverse populations with many different religions and many different ethnicities in the city. So they are learning from each other. What are you doing? How are you communicating to the Southeast Asian community? How are you communicating to that type of community? And that's my last slide that I would present here today. That's the action. Where do we act? We have kind of 4 headlines. There's one thing about places. So the community we live in, the urban planning, the infrastructure. We're not urban planners, we're not experts in the infrastructure. So we're working in partnership with others who are better at this than we are. We're working with big organizations, we're working with urban planners and architect companies. And as we already seen, if you invest into infrastructure for pedestrians or for bike riders, we have seen the results. It is cost saving. It's not even cost effective, it's cost saving, right? We have done a model that is used for cities so they can see the economic benefits, the environmental benefits, and the health benefits of investing into this. And again, that is also freely available on our website. Community. One of the things we've learned throughout the last 5 years is one of the main barriers for making a good public health effort is trust, and in particular lack of trust. It doesn't matter whether we are in China, we are in Denmark, or we are in the US. 3 very different countries with very different healthcare systems. Trust is a major barrier. People, they do not trust their insurance company, they do not trust their politicians, they do not trust media, they do not trust the pharmaceutical industry, but they trust their neighbor. So communities might be the key if you want to overcome this trust barrier. And working within communities has shown to be very effective. So, food. I saw an article the other day showing that bad food habits is now killing more people than tobacco. I think that is quite a warning, right? And it was in one of the big media, it was not one of these popular articles. Food is one of the keys if you want to bend the curve. And finally, healthcare. There are places in the world where healthcare is a barrier on its own, and where healthcare needs to be strengthened. But we need to see better policies being implemented, and we are also working on that dimension, obviously. This is the last slide, I promise. So this is the global program outlook. We would like to expand the number of partner cities to at least 50 by 2023. We would like to increase the focus on continuing driving action in the cities, so we can show more and more good results, and also learn what's not working, what is scalable, what is not. And finally, we would like to create great opportunities for sharing across cities. Thank you very much for listening.